Let's go to Ann in Cincinnati. What's up, Ann? How are we doing?
Hi, Dr. John. It's nice to talk to you today.
It is nice to talk to you. How are things going?
Going pretty well.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. What's up? How can I help?
So I would like to know how to best be there for my teen stepdaughter as she works through some relationship issues with her mom.
Oof. Wow. Okay, so how long have y'all been in each other's life? Or let me say that a little less complicated. How long have you been in her life?
About 11 years.
Okay, so you've been in it for a while.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So she's 14, and she's just the best kid ever. She really is. And we knew from early on that, like, her mom just wasn't very dependable.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just kind of took over everything. Like, we never depended on her for anything.
We being you and the 14-year-old, or you and your husband?
My husband and I.
Okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, up until a couple years ago, she thought her mom hung the moon, and so we never told her any different. But, you would see her at sporting events or school events, and she's watching the door, and, like, just seeing the anxiety on her face because her mom's not there or her mom's showing up late. I knew that this day was going to come, but it sucks. So last year, our daughter came to us and said that she was depressed and suicidal. Mm-hmm. So we got her into a doctor, and then within a few days, she was admitted into inpatient treatment. And it took about 6 months of weekly sessions and then bi-weekly sessions for her to really no longer have suicidal thoughts. Wow. But then with all of that, came out a lot of the issues that she's had with her mom. And so, we never want to say anything bad about her, but it's hard to be truthful and political. And then, so all of that kind of came to a head over the summer. It was my daughter's birthday. And, it was actually, like, we have 50-50 custody, and it was actually her week with her mom. But her mom, my daughter wanted, like, a special dinner made for her that I make. So I asked her mom, can I make dinner for her? And then, like, your family can come over and have dinner with our family. And she was like, we don't want to come, but you can still do that. So, like, we get along great, and we all work well together. Mm-hmm. So then after my daughter got back to her house that night, she found out, like, her mom hadn't done anything for her birthday. So no gift, like nothing. And all she had asked for was, like, a $30 video game. Yeah. So then the next day it kind of blew up. My husband kind of blew up on her. And, was asking why she didn't get her anything for her birthday at all. And she was like, well, I'm getting married soon. I don't have the money. So, everything just kind of got out in the open then. And so we have a lot of open conversations with our daughter. And, she's confided in me in a lot of stuff. So, I get to where, like, when she's talking to me about these things, like, again, like, I don't want to say anything bad about her mom. I don't know where the line is. And she does vent to me quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So I've tried to get better about just listening and not giving her any advice at all. But I feel like I just don't know what to say.
Man, I appreciate your heart so much. That's awesome. I really do, because I can imagine you love this man, you love this little girl, and your instincts are to, like, I'll solve this problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the restraint you're showing is just unbelievable. It's noble, and I'm grateful for you. So your instincts are right, and even when it's hard, I'll always double back on, don't ever talk bad about mom. There is a difference between stating facts and talking bad about mom. So I can imagine a scenario where it would feel really good and you'd be justified to, in a few months, be like, can you believe your mom didn't even get you a present? And have your daughter say, I know, and you did, and dad did. That would feel good. It would feel like you're winning, right? But it's not a competition. There's a difference between when your daughter says, "Hey, I don't want to get my hopes up. Last year, mom didn't get me anything," and you going, "Yeah, she didn't. Last year, she was having some financial issues, and she didn't get you anything. She loves you though." That's one way to handle it. Versus, I know. Can you believe she just forgot you? Right? One of those is a fact, and I'm just stating the fact. And do you and I think that's a character stitch? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm just stating the facts. That's one way to do it, right? And I think that's completely okay. If you don't do that, your kid will feel like she's crazy. Like she's having this experience with a woman who's not saying I love you and not demonstrating it. And nobody in her world will acknowledge that. That makes her feel nuts. But that's different than talking crap about her, right? Is that fair?
Yeah. And another thing that, like, so she had actually, after that happened, she had invited her to one of her counseling sessions and said, like, I don't feel seen and I don't feel heard by you. You know, like, we don't do anything together unless I suggest it. My daughter was saying that. So they had this plan in place to do more, you know, things together, things that don't cost any money. And then her mom just never executed
that's
it.
Never going to happen. No, absolutely not.
Yeah. And I tried to talk to her about, like, well, you may just have to grieve, you know, like you suggest, grieve the fact that that's not the mom you have. And she's not ready to give up on it. Yeah. And it's like knowing your child's going to break their arm and just watching it happen.
Yeah. Except it's their mom. And so they're breaking their soul. Right.
Yeah.
And especially you want to just rattle that other adult and say, for God's sake, show up to the park. What else are you doing? Right.
Yeah.
This isn't hard.
I know that she loves her.
Yeah. Well, but there does come a point when I'm going to say that your actions, your behavior is a language, and your actions are telling me you do not love this kid. You love to say that you love this kid, but you are not demonstrating that. And the devastating thing for you, I mean, I love that analogy. I've never heard it before, but I love it. You're watching a car wreck happen, and you know that your daughter is going to continue to try to solve that gap that her mom has placed between them, because it's mom's job to make sure that daughter knows that she's loved and is valued, even if she doesn't live in that house. And mom is choosing not to do a little thing like go to a park with a kid or show up to a game or something like that, right? They're choosing that. And that your daughter's going to continue to try to solve that and solve that and solve that. So I do think it's fair to have conversations like, that's not your responsibility or that's not your job. She's still going to do it anyway because she's 14 and she's trying to figure out what about her is so unlovable that her own mom doesn't love her. But I think it's continuing to lean into that. That's not your job. That's not your job. And I also think it's real important to develop this one really important sentence. Thank you so much for sharing that with me, followed by a big hug.
Okay.
That phrase gets you out of having to comment on it. If she asks for your opinion or less than your opinion, if she asks for advice, then she's inviting you into this conversation. And even my wife will sometimes ask me, are you asking for what I think you should do in this moment? And when that happens, I've been invited in, I'm going to give my adult wisdom here, because I think that's an honorable thing to do. So for instance, she says, hey, I was thinking about inviting mom to this thing, but I don't think she's going to show up. What do you think I should do? And you can then say, are you asking me if you should invite your mom to this thing? Yes, that's what I'm asking you. Tell me about the last 3 or 4 times you've invited her to something. She never shows up. She always says she's going to, and she never shows up. What about this time is going to be different? Do you still want to give it a shot? Great. I'll support you whatever you want to do. So, but you're teaching her how to think through these things without you being like, hell no, don't call her. She doesn't get to hang out with you. She always stands. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And that actually happened not too long ago.
I know that's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Because I am a fixer, and that I've just, realized that that's not going to help her as she gets, older and as being an adult. So it's awful to, watch your kids suffer like that.
Just hurt. Yeah. There is a place too. And I may get some pushback on that and that's okay. I'm not tied to this, but I do think there's a different conversation dad can have than you can have. There is some conversation that he can talk about mom a little bit. Like, hey, I know your mom stood you up last night. I'm very sorry. That shouldn't have happened. He can have that conversation because there's not that sense of competition and betrayal that your daughter feels between you and her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so when there's a sense of deep mourning and someone's got to say something, which I do think that's important, someone's got to speak up. I know you wanted your mom to come to the game, and I'm so sorry she didn't show up. I like that conversation happening from dad.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like he's trying to make a move and be like, so I'm the good mom. It doesn't feel like that. You can hug deeply and say, I'm so sorry that you're disappointed. And that's when dad comes in and says, yeah, mom should have showed up, and I'm sorry that she didn't.
Okay.
Right? And I know that's fine line, but he can step up and have some of those conversations. But all that to say is, I know this is so hard. I want you to make sure you're getting your needs met other places. Because the restraint you're showing is going to be exhausting, right?
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, and you want to just go, I'm doing all this work. Why won't she recognize it? Why is she still sad over this other lady?
Well, yeah, and when she was younger, I did go through that. But really just being completely open and honest with her, like with each other, like she has even said, like, I know I have you, but it doesn't change the fact that, that's my mom. And so it's like they're not mutually exclusive. Like, yes, I do have you, but I also want my mom too.
Yeah.
So,
well, and it's
I'm
less
okay with
about, it is, I want my mom, but it's more about, I want to know what about me is so unlovable.
Yeah. And I guess, is there a way for us to help her? Yeah. Because I keep trying to tell her, like, this has nothing to do with you, because she really is just such an amazing
not
kid.
a 14-year-old who's just wondering what about me is not lovable.
And she's been diagnosed with automatic negative thoughts.
I don't know if that's I haven't heard that diagnosis, but it wouldn't surprise me. The DSM's pretty thick. There's like the body will protect itself. And the one person who's supposed to show up in your life, no matter what, is mom. And hers isn't. And she's got dad. She's got an incredible, world-class stepmom. But there's that voice inside saying, yeah, but your own mom doesn't love you. And so lots and lots and lots of physical touch, holding hands, lots of hugs, daily hugs, possibly having a journal that y'all share together. Like, and you may have heard me talk about this on the show, a journal between, just between two women. And she puts it on your bed, and then you write in it and put it on her bed. And it's something y'all don't talk about unless you have like a once a month, we're going to go talk about what's in the journal or whatever. But it's a way to keep a dialogue open, because she's 14 now. She's about to enter into a season where she's going to stop communicating with you. And there may even become a point when her hurting, her pain has to become somebody's fault, not her mom's. And it will have to become you're about to enter into a new season is what I'm saying. So starting now with some sort of communication tool, I love the idea of a journal that y'all share. I write in it, you write in it. I write in it, you write in it. And she can go back and see all of the positive reinforcement you've put in this thing. How great she is, how wonderful, how much you love her, what a great young girl she is, what an incredible woman she's growing into. All those things, you can continue to reinforce that. And when you have automatically default to negative thinking, you can spin those things out. But when it's written down, you go back and see it again, and you see it again, and you see it again. And that's actually how you, over time, begin to shift that default setting. And so I would recommend y'all do something like that together. Lots of physical touch, dad getting involved with a little bit more conversation. And at some point, maybe dad or you, I don't know y'all's relationship, but somebody has a conversation with mom that says, stop saying you're going to show up and then showing up. You're breaking this girl's heart. It's just too much for her. Stop breaking the girl's heart. Just have the courage to say, I'm not coming. I don't want to be a part of your life. Don't continue to dangle your relationship, your love out there like a carrot. And this 14-year-old's going to chase it and chase it, because she's going to chase it the rest of her life. Thanks for loving, Ann. You're awesome.